Josh Appel is the public address announcer for the Miami Marlins at Lone Depot Park. Terrific broadcaster, a Jim Nantz Award winner. He begins his honeymoon tonight, and we thought we'd bring him on before he heads off to the world of wedded bliss on his honeymoon. We thought we'd talk about Mike White, his good friend, the Dolphins overall, the World Baseball Classic, the Panthers. We can run the gamut. So Mike White was at your wedding. He was in your wedding party. He's a very good friend of yours. So let's just talk here about Mike White, the person, for a second, who you've known for a number of years. For Dolphins fans, who are you getting in Mike White?
Just a down-to-earth person who treats everybody the same, regardless of who you are. His wife likes a joke that he has more group texts with so many different people from all the different, stops he's been over the years, USF, Western Kentucky, even stuff in high school, growing up in baseball, then obviously his stops in the league. Comes from a great family in Pembroke Pines, and it's been a really cool last few days to have him sign down here. It's where he wanted to be, and it's crazy that it worked out the way it did. And it's a great football situation for him. It's a great off-the-field situation for him. And someone who's close to him, it's really, really cool to have him down here. And, I mean, you saw it last year with how the Jets locker room embraced him, not just last year, but even the season before. And that's just the type of guy he is. People gravitate towards him. He's a really good leader, and the Dolphins did a really nice job. Unbiased opinion. The Dolphins did a really nice job addressing their backup quarterback position the last couple of days.
And Josh, we were actually surprised. I was surprised that we could sign Mike White for a 2-year deal with him making, I think it was 16, 17 million for 2 years. Were you surprised that he really signed a backup deal? I thought somebody might give him a chance. Like, the path to him being a backup, his decision to just say, hey, I don't know if these are 2 more proven years or not, but his bigger thought process about his career and coming to Miami.
Well, I think he proved a lot in the last couple of seasons that if he's given the chance, he can go in there and perform at a high level. I mean, he had probably one of the biggest upset wins of the 2021 season when he started against Cincinnati and came back from 2 scores down in the fourth quarter and beat them. It's unfortunate that he got hurt after he threw a touchdown the following week or 2 weeks after that on that Thursday night game against Indianapolis. And then this year played really well against Chicago, had a really good game in Minnesota. A couple of things didn't go their way, and they ended up losing by a score at the Vikings. And then Matt Milano crushed his ribs in that Buffalo game, and then he came back and then tried to play through it against Seattle. And so that last taste in everybody's mouth of seeing him was, not his best due to a lot of things, but he was still out there, and it didn't go great. But he's shown that he can come off the bench cold, perform well, win your team a game maybe they're not supposed to win as a backup, and really that's all you can ask for from that position. The market kind of is what it is. I think, when you look at the different options that he had, I mean, this was easily the best one for so many different reasons. Football, like I said, football off the field. I mean, it really is the perfect fit for him. And I'm glad that both sides were able to work something out. It's exactly what the Dolphins need. The Dolphins need someone who can come in there. You can look at his game log. Some games not as good as others, but the potential, the ceiling for him with what surrounds or what it makes up this offense with Tyreek and Waddle and Mostert back and Wilson back, Mike McDaniel is the head coach, the play caller. Like it really is set up well for him if and when he gets a shot to play.
What about, for people who don't know, Josh does plenty of NFL games nationally for Sports USA, so you see all the teams. Jalen Ramsey, I mean, huge name. I guess the biggest knock, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, was that he had his worst year, I guess, was last season. But he's still a really young guy, and now you feel like you have Xavier Howard back there and Jalen Ramsey and Vic Fangio as your guy, Fangs. I forgot. As the defensive coordinator.
It's insulting.
Can he be an all-pro, Jalen Ramsey again?
It's funny that you say, oh, he's coming off of his worst season of his career, a down season, and PFF still had him in the top 10 at the position last year.
I think
maybe he's not what he was. Say that again?
I think number 3.
Yeah, I mean, so top 5. So, look, he may not be the same guy he was in 2017 when Jacksonville went on the run. He may not be the same guy from the first couple of years in Los Angeles, but he's still an upgrade over what they had. I think he's a better player than Byron Jones. No disrespect to a healthy Byron Jones, but I think Ramsey's the better player. And I think when you look at what you gave up for him, a tight end who has 1 catch in 2 years and an extra 3rd round pick, I mean, that's a no-brainer. If he is just simply above average to good, even if he's not at that all-pro level, they're good at that position because it was rough in the secondary with all the injuries they had. And you think now you look at that unit, Xavier, of course, Jalen, Nick Needham is going to be back as the nickel guy off injury. Kader Kohu had a great year last year, the undrafted free agent that they signed. Great year for an undrafted guy, obviously. Some things that he hopefully can get better at and develop. Then you look at the safeties, Javon Holland and Brandon. People talk about the secondary and leave out Brandon Jones all the time, and I don't get it because he's one of the best blitzing safeties in the league. I mean, he makes a ton of plays back there. This defense and Vic Fangio, they've got some really nice pieces, and David Long, I think, is a really, really underrated acquisition. If you look at all the reaction on Twitter from the Titans writers, from national writers, from Titans fans, I like that. That's usually a gauge for me on a certain player that you bring over in a trade or free agency. What are the team that he's leaving? What do they think about it? And everybody that I've seen is like, wow, $5.5 million for David Long is a steal. And this is from Warren Sharp on Twitter at Sharp Football. Since David Long became a starter, the Titans went 20-7 when he was healthy and 3-10 when he was not. Next Gen Stats has him as the 2nd best in the league in run stuff rate. So he's a pretty good player at a really good cap number. And like everything else, health is a concern because, he did miss 13 games the last couple of seasons. So I like what the Dolphins have done so far. And while the thought of, Dalvin Cook or, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, yeah, that's all great thoughts, but do you really want to be investing that much money into that position when you got decent production when they were on the field from Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson last year? The guys who already know the offense and have been in the system, and with all the different kind of money that they have spread out with Ramsey and Howard and Tyreek, and Waddle's going to be doing extension, and Wilkins is going to be doing extension. Like, all these guys are going to have to get paid. I'm not sure the best allocation of another big contract is at the running back position, no matter how good Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, and Dalvin Cook would be here.
And Josh, while they're doing, I was surprised again how active they were. The Tyreek, acquisition last offseason and getting these big guys, but the Dolphins are active again, and something switched in this organization where they're going out to get it. How long does this last, though? Because we just saw what happened with the Rams, where you go out there, you add a bunch of pieces, sooner or later you can't keep it up. So this cap hell everybody talks about, how long until we get into cap hell? Because I'm anticipating it's coming soon with all these big-time contracts.
Probably at the end of this 2 or 3 year stretch, I would say, is when the bill comes due for it. But, I mean, if you have the right coach, if you find your quarterback, you just make it work after that, right? It's worth it to go for it in these 2 or 3 years because, I mean, if you're not going to go for it, now, like, what's the point? Like, isn't the goal to do whatever you can to win a title? And maybe they're not on par with Kansas City or a but they're getting, like, I'm not sure you could find, I didn't even mention Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb on that defense. Like, I'm not sure you'll find individual, like, better collection of talent all together on one team in the league this year. Because if you look at, the Chiefs, they obviously have great players, but a lot of their money is tied up in like 2 or 3 guys. Cincinnati is about to go through that same thing. They just lost some pieces on their defense. Buffalo is losing pieces on their defense. Philadelphia just lost Javon Hargrave, one of their big defensive tackles. Like, these teams, while they're still going to be very good and they're still going to be contenders, San Francisco obviously as well, the amount of just big names this Dolphins team has put together in the last 2 off seasons, it's pretty impressive. And we've talked before, especially the last Brian Flores season, about Chris Greer and the job that he's done. And really into the beginning of this year, we've talked about it. Being a GM is hard. You're not going to hit on every single move that you make, but when he hits, like when he identifies someone, it seems like he gets him. And, people like to criticize Stephen Ross all the time, but you even think back to early in his tenure, He's never been afraid to spend big money on a big name. And whether that's smart spending or not is another conversation. But you can talk about all the other stuff with Stephen Ross, but it's always in the attempt to make the team better, make them a bigger story nationally, and build them into a winner. It just hasn't worked that way to this point. But I think this is about as excited as you can be for a Dolphins team. We said that before last year, but this year with what they've added, how could you not be really excited?
They're even better.
Yeah, it's crazy. It really is, in a good way.
And piggybacking off of that, I mean, Appel, you and I are around the same age. This is, would you agree, the best Dolphins roster in our lifetime, post-Marino, right? Since Jay Fiedler took over, no offense to Crowder's 1-15 team, this is the best roster that we've ever seen in Miami.
Stray that you just caught there.
Yeah,
I mean, look, we talked ourselves into those Mike Wallace and Brandon Marshall teams, and you do that every year. Post Dan Marino, there were still some pretty good names on that defense, but top to bottom on both sides of the ball like this, with not only just the roster, but a coach that you really believe in. I think the last time, and I think I said this on the show at this point last season or going into the season, I think the last time that I can remember being this excited about a Dolphins roster was when they brought in Culpepper. Everybody thought that Culpepper was going to take this team to the next level. I mean, he was the Madden commercial and everything. And I can't remember, was that before the first Saban season or before the second Saban season?
It was
before the second one, right?
Second
right.
season, yeah.
So you're coming off a 9-7 season with Gus Frerotte, and you're like, all right, next season coming up, like you add Culpepper, you add a legitimate quarterback, this team could take that step. We know how that turned out, and Nick Saban wasn't going to be the Alabama coach, and then he was. And then he became Hawk's best friend.
That is not Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Every Dolphins fan, the moment you start talking about that season, Drew Brees just comes out. You can't
exactly. And then you even look at the two playoff teams they had since then. The Wildcat year was incredibly fun, but we knew that team was limited, right?
Who knew?
When it came down to it.
Josh, why didn't you call me?
I knew.
We're jacked up.
I mean, Dan Henning and the Wildcat, a little cutesy.
How the hell did you know? Crowder didn't know.
It's a little cutesy with the Wildcat.
Man, put me on this thread. You have me on the wrong thread. Playing my ass off all year.
He's on a thread with Ronnie Brown going, looks like we really put it together here. We're going to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
In the meantime, Josh is on like his little 11-year-old thread going,
Facebook, my Facebook status with little cutesy with the Wildcat. I did have one of those. I went to a watch party at Bo Campers once, and they were giving out like foam Wildcat hands, and I would bring it to every Dolphin game, and I think it said Wildcat ready on the front. Bring it to every game. It was so much fun.
Little cutesy with your foam hand. I'm not gonna lie. little cutesy.
Oh my God.
We're gonna run out of time. Josh Appel is the public address announcer for the Marlins at Lone Depot Park. I said this yesterday to Crowder and Solana, half jokingly but half serious. You watch the baseball.
Wait,
Classic.
You weren't serious when you said that 4 different cities needed to blow up for this? That wasn't a joke?
That part I was actually serious about. That was the serious part of it. No, but in all honesty, because Crowder and I were at the World Baseball Classic 6 years ago, and you see it on TV now. I mean, Lone Depot Park is lit. Is it that far off to say Miami could be a great baseball city?
I don't think it's far off at all. It just, you see what the Panther games have turned into in the last few years as they've started to win more. People show up to random Tuesday night games against the Coyotes, which was an 8,000 person attended game a few years ago. It's with every team down here. You just got to put some kind of consistent competitive winner on the field. Baseball's a really tough sport, but I think this season is the closest we've been in a long time to having that kind of chance to compete where people can actually come to the ballpark and see a team that can compete to play in the postseason. It's been so cool to see the crowds there, the games there. I mean, the nations that they have down here really make for that. But, I mean, you had Sandy Alcantara throwing for the Dominican Republic. You had Pillows throwing a gem for Venezuela the other night. I mean, Luis Ariz is playing for them. You get Miguel Cabrera with a mini homecoming. Like, there are a lot of really cool stories that have gone on just locally with the pool play in the tournament down here, and the crowds bring it every night. I saw something on Twitter last night that over an hour after the game, I think it was Puerto Rican fans were still in Recess Sports Lounge, like partying in there after the game. It's really cool to see that stadium packed for a baseball game. It really is. I mean, you see it every now and again when the Yankees come to town, or the Cubs, or the Mets, and big teams like that. But, the reality is a lot of those times, Marlins fans are outnumbered. It's great atmospheres, but it's almost like you're playing a road game at home. These games have been so cool and really incredible to watch, and the crowd has been a big reason why. And look, like I said, you put a winner on the field and you start to win a little more. They might not be sellouts every night, but you're going to get better crowds and fans who are into it a lot more often. I mean, I remember going to games at the old stadium on Saturdays and the weekends where there were legitimately great crowds there, and those games were a ton of fun. And hopefully we can get back to that at some point here.
And when you say win, like that, it's easy to say, people are going to watch a winner. But what does that look like? Like if they come out and start next season 10-1, is that winning? If they go to the playoffs next year, is that winning? Like what's going to get that reaction?
Saying you got to win a World Series or nobody's going to come is a little unrealistic. I just mean you got to be playing meaningful baseball.
Wow.
Most of the season, towards the end, you got to be playing meaningful baseball and consistently, not just this year, but next year and the year after that, because the hell of the Panthers won. They won a series last year, but people are still going because the games are exciting and the team is winning and they are competitive and theoretically have a chance to do more winning. This team needs to be playing in competitive games with meaning, not just playing spoiler at the end. Like these games in August and September need to mean something, and I think people will show up.
Josh Appel, he's leaving for his honeymoon tonight. You can see for his wedding, we gave him a brand new microphone and a setup there at his
you guys gave it to
his
me.
house.
Can we explain what happened, by the way?
We hope you enjoy it. With what?
With this whole situation today and
yeah,
what we
you've
figured
tried
out
to
was
join
wrong?
us on StreamYard about 6 weeks in a row. It never works. You have an earbud in that I think they gave you on an airplane for free.
No, it's an AirPod.
Like the headphones that Crowder carries around. Crowder's got 19 Delta headphones in his pocket.
Don't insult the Sennheiser microphone, okay? This is a broadcast quality
Sennheiser's
headset.
legit, man.
Yeah.
I know, and those are the headphones I have from the Delta is Sennheiser. Josh,
well,
quickly
you must
before
be
you
an
start,
economy
Josh.
plus.
Josh, I will not say no to a free headset, no matter where I am, no matter how many
But then
I
he
have.
brings them everywhere. And he thinks it's
You never
impressive.
know.
So
But you never know.
We're out at a Panthers game. He's like, "Hey, Tree, I got 6 or 7 headphones here. They're Delta."
Hey, failure to prepare is preparing to fail, okay?
Oh,
Crowder, nice job.
Strong.
Nice job.
Also, I'm wearing my Beats by CVS.
You're going to go for a walk and use your Walkman later as well?
I love my Walkman.
What CD are you going to put in there?
But we are going to miss you, Josh. Josh is usually with us anytime we're at Twin Peaks in Davie, and we're going to be there this Thursday. There's a little reminder. This Thursday, the tournament starts. We are going to do our show 2 till 6, Twin Peaks in Davie. It's why Arande's not on today. Usually it's Arande and Appel on Tuesdays. Arande called me on the weekend. Hey, push me to Thursday. I'm going to be at Twin Peaks. You're going to be on your honeymoon, so we're going to miss you. Where are you going on your honeymoon?
We're going to California. We're starting up in San Francisco, then Napa, and then going all the way down south to LA and San Diego over the course of 10 days. We're really looking forward to it.
Very nice. You're gonna
but I'll
stop
be at Tweaks after that. Say that again.
In-N-Out Burger?
Of course.
Of course. That's how you make honeymoon
waste
memories.
your
That's
time.
honeymoon memories,
You're
Crowder.
with your wife. Go somewhere
Double hamburger
nice.
ketchup only with
memory.
regular fries.
No, love on her.
Love on her. Yeah.
With In-N-Out Burger.
Her is how I refer to a double-double. So love on her.
In-N-Out Burger.
At least
I'm with him.
if you're gonna make her have an In-N-Out burger, sit on the same side of the booth as her so y'all's legs can touch. That's cute.
You act like she's the one who wants to go there.
No, she doesn't.
Yes, she does.
Yeah,
she's
you don't
doing
know
that
Mara.
for you. No, she's doing that for you.
Not certain.
Not so
Unsolicited, she brought it up.
Loves you. She loves
she
you.
does.
You need to love her back.
Who are you
course.
more excited about? We're out of time. Who are you more excited about being in Miami playing for the Dolphins or coaching for the Dolphins? Mike White, your friend, or Vic Fangio because his nickname is
Wow.
Fang? Yeah, I know.
I
it's
mean,
a tough one.
that is the ultimate trying to choose between my favorite child. But
The answer when Josh Appel returns from his honeymoon, the ultimate radio tease. Who does he choose? Who does he give the flowers to? Vic
White.
Fangio or Mike White? We will find out in 2 weeks here on the Hoch and Crowder Show. Thank you, Josh Appel. We'll take a break. We'll come right back.